Good day, Mr. Andika. This is presentation for meeting 5 from Cengkareng class. First, let me introduce myself and my group mates. My name is Nathaniel Faren, and joining us is here we have uh, Sri Wayuni, Aida Nur Kamila, Desvita Aulia, and Aisyah Ayu. And sadly, two of our members cannot join us for our presentation for today because they disappeared somewhere and we are unable to contact them in any way, shape, or form. So we only have 6 members to do with our presentation, and I hope you enjoy.
This meeting we have four topics. The first one is applied stylistics. Second one is lexicography. Third one is language development and case of language development in our area. What is stylistic? Stylistic is the study and interpretation of text of all types, but particularly literary texts and spoken language with regard to their linguistic and tonal style. First, style is the particular variety of language used by different individuals in different situations and settings. Tom MacArthur defines stylistic as the branch of linguistics that studies style, especially in works of literature. This implies that style is central to the study of stylistics. Schools of stylistics. The first one is sociolinguistic stylistics. Further advocates sociolinguistic frame for study of literary style. The style can be interpreted in relation to the stylistic conventions which generate it and the historical and sociological situation which brought it into existence. Sociolinguistics, unlike the textualist stylistics, seeks to find social and ideological context functioning behind and developing stylistic character of a literary text. The second one is feminist stylistics. Feminist stylistic believes that social and institutionalized prejudice and ideologies are embedded in a text and that stylistic character of literature mirror perceive gender roles of the society. Deirdre Barton says this approach is to understand the relationship between silver and crippling depression that many women experience in models of literature, media, education, folk, motion of the family, motherhood, fatherhood, work, and so on.
Functional stylistic is an umbrella term for a number of linguistic theories of 1950s and 1960s, and the third application in literary stylistic, the functionalist credo in Halliday. A word is the particular form taken by the grammatical system of language is closely related to the social and personal needs that a language is required to serve. For pragmatic stylistic, in a canonical form of a communicative, even one addresser give information to one address, but actual life-like situation afford many deviation A drama for intents over one out of many possible conflicts where a character speaks to character, and this discourse is a part of what the playwright tells the audience. There's approaches suggest that the focus of dramatic stylistic is on context rather than on syntax. Pedagog- Pedagogical stylistic focuses on the literature where the message is text contained and the preposes know whether context so that everything necessary for its interpretation is to be found within the message itself. A pedagogical Russian just the inclusion of the stylistic within apply linguistic sense as an area of the inquiry, which brings the finding of linguistic to bear on the practical problem of the teaching.
Lexicography. Lexicography is the practice of compiling dictionaries involving both the practical act of creating dictionaries, practical lexicography, and the scholarly study of dictionaries, the theoretical lexicography. It involves the systematic recording of words and their meaning, phonetic transcription, etymology, and other linguistic attributes. The primary aim of lexicography is to document language systematical to facilitate facilitate communication. Next slide. Branch of lexicography. Practical lexicography. This branch focus on the day-to-day work of creating and updating dictionaries. Lexicographers research words, track language change, and develop definition and example. Theoretical lexicography. This branch studies the principles and practices of lexicography, include how dictionaries are structured, how users interact with them, and how they can be improved. Next slide is types of lexicography. Monolingual. It involves the complication of dictionaries in a single language. It focuses on providing definitions, synonyms, antonyms, and example of usage. Bilingual. It is about compiling dictionaries that translate words and phrases from one language to another. These dictionaries are pivotal research in language learning and translation. Computational. It employs technology to compile and manage digital lexical database and create electronic dictionaries. It leverages techniques used from fields like natural language processing and artificial intelligence. Specialist. It involves the creation of dictionaries for specific domains such as law, medicine, linguistics, or specific group of people like children, professional, or language learners.
Okay, this is lexicography processes. Start from data collection and corpus web data. And this is a lexicographic specification. Di sini di select atau di filter. After that, um, ini didistribusi gitu, didistribusi ke dictionary 1, dictionary 2, dictionary 3. Okay, here are lexicography processes. The first is compilation. The process of dictionary making starts with the compilation of words, phrases, and lexical data from various sources like literary works, professional texts, spoken language, and digital media. The second, research. The lexicographers conduct extensive research to ensure the accuracy of word meanings, etymology, phonetics, syntax, usage, and more. This involves both empirical research and consultation with language experts. The third, editing. Editing in lexicography involves checking for accuracy, consistency, comprehensibility, and formatting coherence. It ensures the quality and reliability of the final dictionary product. And the fourth, publication. Publication is the final stage in lexicography. It once referred only to print dictionaries, but now includes online dictionaries, mobile applications, and digital language.
Language treatment. Language treatment, the creation of artificial languages, is interesting to discuss because of the central interest there in communication across frontiers. An artificial language is one created by individuals for a specific purpose rather than developing naturally like a natural language. The origin of language treatment. The idea of creation of artificial language arose in 19th 17th and 18th century as a result of the gradually decreasing international role of Latin. The initial themes were mainly aimed at the development of a rational language free from imposition of living language and based on classification of concepts. The material of living languages also appears later. The key characteristic of language treatment, the first is purpose-driven. It's created for a specific goal, such as international communication, computer programming, or fictional works. Second is plain. The lexicon, vocabulary, and grammar are designed and controlled by the creators. The last is less subject to change. Artificial languages are generally more stable than natural languages, which evolve over time.
This is the case of language treatment or the bahasa gaul in our area in Jakarta or in Indonesia. First, we have statue, which translate to setelan cuek, which comes from a song titled from the same word statue that was sing by a singer from North Maluku, Faris Adam, and that went viral on YouTube, TikTok, and any other form of social media. Next is FOMO or fear of missing out, which means afraid to be left behind. This term itself is popular in 2004 and has been uh, written added by in the Oxford Dictionary in 2013. And FOMO resurfaces back in trend by the current generation. Next is yapping, or which means that talking a lot constantly, uh, which which can be deemed annoying by people. So when people say you are yapping a lot, which means you are annoying. And these words gain popularity in the internet when people start associated with talking a lot and talking nonsense. So, and it's also used in comedy content and also satire. Next. Next is mehong, which means pricey or expensive, which another term for mahal in Indonesia. It is to describe something or an item to be quite expensive. So some people use mehong instead of mahal. Next is slay, which means doing something awesome, amazing, or perfect. So you said you are slay. I mean, it is a compliment to the other person. Next, a pub, which shortened for post a picture, which means asking someone to post or share the picture. Next. Next is mabar. This is popular in Indonesian gaming community, which means main bareng or play together in English. It is used to ask other people to invite their friends to play together. So you say, "Ayo mabar," which means let's play. Next is RIS. RIS actually a short from the word charisma, but focus on the just RIS. It is the ability to attract or uh, pull other people so using their RIS so called. Jadi kayak menggunakan kayak apa ya sebutannya? eh Menarik perhatian suatu lawan jenis atau apalah gitu. Itu biasa digunakan buat flirting-flirting gitu atau semacam itu. Next is skena. Itu artinya sekelompok orang yang memiliki kesamaan minat dan sering berinteraksi secara langsung. So this is essentially a circle of people that have the same interest that and interacts together uh, with using any social media. Next. So the conclusion is that applied linguistics is a dynamic field that can deepen the analysis and understanding of language style in text, informs the creation of accurate and user-friendly dictionaries, and includes the development of artificial intelligence systems capable of processing, understanding human language. By connecting linguistic theory with practical application, applied linguistics plays a crucial role in enhancing communication, supporting language education, and advancing technologies that interact with language in innovative ways. That is all for our presentation. We apologize if we have any mistakes, but thank you for watching. Dadah.